Hi, I just have a quick question I was wondering if someone could help me with.
Okay, and who's this?
Christine.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was just, I heard the news about that lady that died from needing a blood transfusion in Canada. Did you hear about that?
No. Okay.
Yeah. Her name was Eloise from Canada. Forgot her last name. It's like French. I think she was from Quebec, but it was after she had her baby and she just bled out.
hmm
Does that bother you?
it's a personal decision. It's a person can, you know,
I
as
wasn't
in,
asking you
in,
if it was
in
a personal decision. I said, does that bother you?
of course it does. But
Oh, okay.
you don't ever want to see anyone go through something like that. But at the same time, it's one of those decisions that individual makes. And
No, it's a dictate the Watchtower organization puts on its members.
no, the Bible does that.
The Bible doesn't talk about blood transfusion. But anyway,
It,
I was so shocked. I was kind of looking into the history of it, and I just wanted to see if this is still the belief too, because I was really surprised by this one thing. I know it's changed and flip-flopped like a whole bunch of times on different aspects of it, but it says here um, that if parents violate God's law on blood and the child dies, they have endangered that child's opportunity for everlasting life. Is that still the teaching there?
where are you reading this from?
It's in a book, it's kind of an older book, Blood, Medicine, and the Law of God, 1961. So I'm just
Yeah,
asking, is that still the teaching? And how long did they
no.
teach that?
I have no idea. That was before I was even a
Yeah.
witness.
Isn't that
Yeah.
terrifying?
Um, that was what they believed back then, but it's not like that now. So
So it doesn't
I don't know.
matter? I mean, I guess kids probably did die then, huh?
I don't know. I wasn't a servant of Jehovah at that time. I couldn't tell you.
Wow, it doesn't really sound even Christian to me. You know, like Jesus said, if your animal falls into a pit on the Sabbath, wouldn't you even like get it out? Because, he said God desires mercy, not sacrifice. I mean, and I
That's
think he was
true.
just saying by that, just use your common sense.
Yeah.
And here we're talking about a human life of a human child.
Mhm. Yeah. You're correct. That's right.
It's pretty terrifying. I wonder, and now they have like this and that, parts of blood you can take, can't take. There's nothing in the Bible about blood
Well,
fractions.
well, that is a personal decision.
No, they used to disfellowship people for taking blood fractions as
Well,
well.
uh, there's four major parts of
Right.
blood, and those four major parts are the blood. Okay. The
No,
minor
no,
fractions,
no, that's
the
you.
minor fractions are a personal decision.
Yeah, but there's no basis for that.
Uh, when you get a vaccine, you get
Hmm.
minor blood fractions.
When you breastfeed your baby, they get white blood cells
Yeah,
from your
and
blood.
and that's and that's the whole point.
Hmm. Which is
It's
one of the forbidden ones.
well, but it is
By
allowed
your
under those
reasoning, you just
circumstances.
used that logic, though.
Well, it's one of these issues a person has to decide for themselves what they want to do.
No, the
Some
Watchtower
some
says they're
some
God's
may feel,
channel, and it doesn't
you know,
matter what the person feels. They even send death committees like to make sure they're enforcing it. Did you see that Awake magazine where they had all the dead children on the cover? It's so eerie. I don't know if you've ever seen it because maybe you haven't been a witness since that time.
well, I don't know when it was published. I mean, it's been publishing 100 years, so I don't know which date you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. I could give you the date of it if you want to look at it. I think it was
Okay.
1994.
Okay.
Let's see. They were on the cover. I guess it tells about them. Poor little children. Like,
Hmm.
why did they have any say about it? You said it's a personal decision. How could children know
Mhm.
about that?
I don't know.
It's May 22nd, 1994, on the cover,
Okay.
and it's really terrifying. It kind of makes me feel sick.
Well, the death of a child should never be pleasing to anyone. You know, it should
Yeah.
make a person,
Yeah.
upset. Yeah.
And they probably died from maybe some of the fractions that are allowed now because it was changed since then.
Yeah. Well, a person can have an allergic reaction to a blood transfusion too.
So.
Because my wife is a nurse, or she was a nurse, she just retired, and that has happened.
So.
And a person does die from that.
Yeah. So I don't see.
It isn't just a black and white issue here.
No, it is as far as their dictates. They're like they used to not allow organ transplants also and vaccinations. So it just seems very arbitrary, and they flip-flopped on. They didn't even allow hemophilia factor. Like first they did, then they didn't, then they did. I mean, what is this based on the Bible? I mean, the Bible doesn't say anything about hemophilia factor. And really, who do they think they are? Like killing people like that? It reminds me more of Jim Jones.
It's not killing. It's a personal decision. You decide for yourself what you want to do.
When you teach people their baby might not be resurrected if you save their life with blood.
We're not the judge. The judge is Jesus Christ.
No.
And he decides who's going to resurrect those and who won't be resurrected.
Then why did they say that? To plant that into people's minds. It's
how
terrifying.
Old is this teaching?
It's from...
teaching,
why don't you care? Just because it's old, it's terrifying. And so is what they say now.
It's no longer a teaching. It's not an issue.
They said they were God's channel, just like they do now. They claim they restored pure worship in 1919. That's why it matters.
If you want to go back 100 years, you certainly can do that. And
yes, and we should.
Were not as clear as they are now. Modern science has come up with answers that are not what they had in the past.
They fractionated blood since the 1940s, so that has nothing to do with it.
You're going back into the history.
No, you mentioned modern science and has nothing to do with it because they had fractions available since the 1940s, and they didn't allow it. A few in the 1980s, and then more in the year 2000. It's so arbitrary. I bet they wish they could do away with it, Russell approved of blood fractions. See how many times they've gone back and forth on it? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're free to believe what you want to believe.
Right.
And that is what they call the freedom of religion. And
right.
I'm free to believe what I want to believe.
Right. But children aren't.
And you may not like it, and that's fine.
Well, it's shocking to me that anybody would like it. It's terrifying and creepy. It seems like more like somebody told me it was more like a Masonic like blood occult ritual, like that people die like a human sacrifice. That's what it seems like to me, not Christian.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe anything you want to believe. We're not going to argue with individuals on any issue. The Bible is clear when it comes to the teachings of not taking in blood.
Not eating blood.
Well, what's the difference? If you're a drug addict...
Oh, you're not going to use that, are you?
Absolutely.
That's not eating blood. Blood is a tissue transplant, and that's why they allow fractions now when they didn't before. It's not eating. You will starve if you just get blood in your veins. It's not eating.
But you know what?
Huh.
If you're going to have a medical device hooked up to your vein, and it has a drug in it, doesn't matter how you get it. If it's in your body, it's in your body.
Then why do they allow portions of blood?
That is a personal decision.
No, it hasn't been for many years until the early 80s and the year 2000. And it's white blood cells, plasma, and the other ones are not personal decisions.
The current understanding is on jw.org.
I know.
That is the current one.
It's terrifying.
And, that is what we believe.
Yeah. I wish more people knew about it. I wish they had a tally of how many people have died from following that. Like that poor mom, like now her baby is motherless.
Well,
I doubt she ever even researched it because it seems like witnesses aren't really allowed to do research either. So some of them, a lot of them don't even know about how many times they flip-flopped on that issue. and on fractions, and say you couldn't store blood. You can't give blood, but you could take fractions that are made from like hundreds of people donating to get enough, So it's just really, it's so disturbing. I hope you would never let anybody in your family die from that, because I think they're going to change it anyways pretty soon.
That is my decision on my family is my business.
Well,
not yours, okay? And if you want to have your opinion, you're free to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm registering my absolute horrification, and since you're a tax-exempt organization, I feel like I have a right to speak out about how awful I think that is. It's unchristian. It doesn't have anything to do with the spirit of what the things Jesus taught about the law, life over law, and it's really. I can't believe that many people follow it to the death. It's terrifying.
That's our choice. That's my choice, not yours.
Yeah, it's your choice because you believe they're God's channel, and they're also liable for lawsuit for false information.
That's why they call it freedom of religion.
Not really. How did those poor children have freedom of religion to die for something like that, to die for the Watchtower?
You don't agree with it. I understand that.
Well, you just said it's freedom of religion, and I was asking you how. That's why people call it like a high control group. Do you see what I'm saying?
That again is your opinion.
Oh, it's the opinion of many. And do you know a lot of people think it's actually folding right now? They're downsizing. What are you going to do then?
I don't answer to you.
No, you don't. But can you imagine all those people dying?
Answer to Christ, not you. You're not Christ.
I would hate whoever made up this stuff to answer to Jesus.
I'm in the middle of something right here, and I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate what you've said, but I really am busy.
Okay. Well, check out jwfacts.com. It has a really good section.
I'm not going to go there.
Don't you want to see the Awake magazine with all the dead children?
That I will look up.
Okay.
If it's an Awake magazine, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Okay. It's only if it's an Awake magazine? Is that all you read?
I'm not going to look up worldly sites.
Worldly?
Yeah.
Do you think that JW material really gives the full history of the organization? They don't.
Well, you know what?
Huh.
I need to go.
Okay. Well, I hope you will look that up, and thank you for talking.
Well, you have a good day.
Okay. God bless.